Well, hello, Greg. I'm delighted to talk about AI and the effect in retailers with someone such as yourself with so much experience. What do you have to show us today?
Hey guys, my name's Greg Buzek. I'm president of IHL Group. We're a research and analyst firm. And a little over a year ago, we looked at and understood that AI was going to make a huge difference in the world of retail. And we coined the phrase retail's AI revolution and built a forecast of the potential impact of that on the industry as a whole. So how did we go about starting that research? Is we looked at it from the perspective of the income statement. We went from the sales improvement potential to the gross margin improvement potential to the impacts on lowering cost of sales and general administrative expenses. And overall, the opportunity is huge, upwards of $9.2 trillion of impact worldwide.
Greg, during my 23 years at Microsoft, I have never seen or witnessed this level of transformation affecting entire industries, uh, driven by these technologies that we call AI, particularly in the last 2 years with generative AI. It is amazing as I see retail transforming. Our focus is basically to align with business and technology and basically help retailers transform. Greg, LATAM is a very interesting region because it's got 33 individual countries and every country has its own uniqueness. Can you tell us about the opportunities that we have leveraging AI in Latin America?
Certainly, yeah. So there's a huge opportunity for retailers in the Latin and South America marketplace. In total, we believe by the end of the decade, there's over $520 billion of potential benefits. And we see those benefits starting early on with the traditional artificial intelligence and machine learning benefits and progressing throughout the decade to be more on the generative AI side of the retail market. We think there's a few segments that are going to particularly benefit from the use of AI in the Latin and South America region, the biggest one being the hypermarkets. And the reason for this is so much of their business is the UPC side of the business, which means it's the same item regardless of the store. You don't have to worry about color and SKU for most of the items that are in the store that are being bought by consumers. That helps AI, as well as the sheer size and scale of the companies that make a difference there. Grocery being the next largest segment, pure play e-commerce the third. They have the benefit of not having the multiple segments and thus the confusion that can add to complexity and lack of cleanliness of the market data.
You know, when I look at LATAM embracing some of these technologies, except for large retailers, I often see a slow adoption of technology. What are your thoughts on how fast should we look at these technologies and leverage the wealth of value that AI and generative AI are delivering today?
Right. I think the main point is you can't afford to just wait for it to get settled. This is probably one of the most transformational technologies we've ever seen in the industry, and you've got to get started, even if it's on little things and small projects to get started as you move forward. It's clear that this AI definitely benefits the largest retailers the most, but it benefits all retailers if they take advantage of it. There's an old axiom that AI is not going to take your job, but somebody that uses AI will. And your competitors using AI will take part of your market share and take that business away if you don't take advantage of that. Overall, this is how we see the benefits growing by tier. Still considerable amount of benefits for the tier two and the tier three side of the sector. And the reason this benefits there is AI is the scale. You can't get away from scale when it comes to AI because it's the amount of data, the quality of the data, and how clean that data is. So you want to have the ability to replicate the knowledge of the knowledge owners to be able to really move forward. And that's the number one thing you can do as a smaller company to move forward is how do you take the knowledge that's in the few people within your organization and make that available to everybody in the organization so you can rise the entire ship there.
So, Greg, I see large retailers introducing personalization on their websites, perhaps adding some shopping assistance. It's pretty interesting how this technology can help with personalization. I also see some of those like introducing new concepts like doing a sommelier, perhaps for helping with technology in general, adding content. And obviously, one of the biggest challenges that we have is while labor cost is low in LATAM, the churn is still very high. So training those employees to be, they are the best brand ambassadors that you got. So you got to keep them trained. So what are you seeing? Where are these technologies impacting retailers the most?
The biggest area is actually in the supply chain. There are tremendous inefficiencies in the supply chain today, whether that's the load factor of the trucks on the roads there, how empty they are versus full, whether it's the negotiations with the suppliers, whether it's the view on just product cost. There are many, many benefits where AI can come into in the merchandising and supply chain. The next is at the store level. At the execution is the availability of data and knowledge to the associates at the store level to make the adjustments you need to take advantage of the opportunities of the consumers that are there.
That's great, Greg. Data is the foundation for any AI solution. But what are your thoughts about the state of data in the industry, and what should we do?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge that we face in retail is we've got a lot of data, but we're knowledge poor. There's a lot of things there that are coming from a lot of disparate systems, and getting to clean data, accurate data, and one version of the truth, that is the first step when it comes to deploying AI. You need to get your data in order, because if you apply AI on bad data, you just get forecasts and different views much faster on bad data. And if you act on that bad data, you'll be in really bad shape. So cleaning your data, getting it tagged, and making sure it's accurate and you have one version of the truth is the first step when it comes to taking advantage of AI.
Tell us a little bit, Greg, about the different AI technologies. Because I hear about generative AI, I hear about RAG models, I hear about new intelligence that is going out. Tell us a little bit, and what do you see is going to be the impact of these technologies?
Yeah, up front, it's going to be the main benefits are going to come from the people that did the hard work of cleaning their data, tagging their data, and making sure they have that single version of the truth. And then it's putting generative AI on top of those items to where you can improve and get better insights and create new insights simply because that AI can take advantage of things that a human being couldn't possibly do and take advantage of increased sales opportunities, lower cost opportunities as a result of having that accurate data as the bedrock for you.
So Greg, with all of this information that you've provided, how what is the impact on the income statement? What is the impact on margins and profits? And please tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. The biggest impact by far is in sales. So if you think about it, what's the value of 1 to 2 additional sales per year from your customers? It's pretty huge. And so with the use of AI, you can improve product recommendations. You can personalize the items, whether that's the promotion itself or the pricing for that consumer, and overall increase customer engagement. So this is by far the largest area of growth that we see for retailers in the industry there. The next is the gross margins, lowering gross margins. So how do we do that? That comes from things like supplier negotiations, better forecast, better inventory optimization, the routing, the logistics, the truck utilization. All those items will reduce the product cost overall and improve gross margins for everybody along the way. This is where the traditional AI and machine learning is critical. And this is one of the areas where the big retailers have a huge advantage because of the amount of data that they have in this particular area on product cost. So the benefit to the smaller guys is it's going to be in this next section, which is that how do I improve my operations? How do I do more with less? And this is really where generative AI takes over. And some of the ideas that we have with regard to the SG&A impact is how do you automate routine tasks there? How do you reduce labor cost? How does one person now support double the number of stores that they were doing previously because they've got an AI co-pilot to go along with them? How do you do the personalized and the targeted marketing? That marketing staff on the back end, what tools do they use to improve those offers for those retailers? But then you have the traditional HR, payroll, and benefit side, the labor scheduling. Great opportunities for AI to take advantage of these things, which are often very complex for an individual to do, but are very easy for artificial intelligence to do. Improve communication, better financial performance and reporting there, and then overall your infrastructure and security management, basically having AI participate with your staff to look at those threats that are coming in for your business and being able to take advantage of this technology to improve that.
In a recent study, IDC found that retailers can get back about $3.5 for every dollar spent, Greg. And that's just amazing. And you're showing us, oh, by the way, you can do that in 14 months, which is an amazing speedy return, right? You also show that through 2029, there are about $520 billion. That is a huge opportunity. Think about how many products, segments, or other investments in retail that you can make could give you this kind of return. And the beauty of it is that, if you're one of those people that are focused only on cost cutting, then you can achieve a lot of cost cutting with this technology. But I would like to think that the opportunities that you have also on realizing additional revenue are great. Greg, any thoughts on that? On the impact.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, what we found is the retailers that have deployed AI today have significantly higher sales growth and profit growth for what's going on in their operations. In fact, in 2023, those using AI saw sales growth 2.3 times that of those not using AI across 11 different solution areas that retailers use. And the profit growth was 2.5 times higher than what they saw from their competitors that were not using AI. Further, looking forward for 2024, their sales growth and profit growth was even higher. And so these technologies specifically have a major impact. So to put a picture with that, as you can see here, when it was used for loss prevention, those that were using AI for loss prevention saw average sales growth of 12.9% in our study, whereas those not using AI only saw 5.8% sales growth. As you can see, the profit growth as well, 8.4% profit growth for those using AI, and those not using AI, 3.3%. So significantly higher. And this goes through with other categories as well, like order fulfillment. And overall, AI has been huge. But to be very critical about the use of AI, you have to think about it critically, because dumb loses more than smart wins. You have to prioritize what you're doing with AI there to make sure that you've got the clean data underneath there and that it is of business value. And the thing to keep in mind too is North America and the US is very different than what we see in the US and Canada. We've got banking differences that can either help or hurt the use of AI in that environment. LATAM is much bigger into conversational commerce and live streaming for things on Instagram and other social platforms to improve sales there. The delivery mechanisms are far more mature in Latin and South America, particularly in the urban environments where it's not as safe for somebody to go physically to the store and carry their items home in their particular neighborhood. There are benefits in call centers, getting people up to expert training very, very quickly. But you've got to balance the cost versus the labor equation. That is very different between the US and Latin and South America as well. Whereas some of these things can be quite expensive to deploy, it may make sense to still stay with labor in Latin and South America, where in the US or Canada, it's far more expensive for that person. So the economics work a lot better. And then finally, you want to start where you have three core items, where you have the data that's cleaned, tagged, and abundant, where you have a strong business value, and where you can see a clear return if you're successful for what's going on there.
That's a great point, Greg. So envisioning, doing the pre-work is is just as important. I think what you're saying is that we just can't go and just put the technology to work for technology's sake. You gotta understand the scenarios.
That's absolutely correct. And as well, just from a practical standpoint, though, you've got to be very careful on what you're doing. As we're seeing a lot of things happening in terms of the generative AI tools that allow you to create videos that are in very different languages. You can no longer trust what you see or what you've said there. Yeah, and to illustrate that, I've got an example of myself and my AI avatar speaking in English, then in Portuguese, then in Spanish. So here's those examples. At IHL Group, we created a 9-point algorithm to measure AI readiness for top fashion retailers. Esto incluyó el uso de datos que miden aspectos como la madurez de los datos, la madurez de los análisis, el tamaño y el flujo de caja libre. Número 4, Cóstico, com uma possibilidade de impacto financeiro de aproximadamente 96 bilhões de reais.
Wow, Greg, the technology is amazing, and with great powers comes great responsibility. This capability really has the potential to transform marketing and customer service, to name a few. And you're right, security is a challenge, and it is why we are putting our full strength behind the responsible use of this technology. So, Greg, this has been really informative and great information here. Where do we start? If I'm a retailer in LATAM, where should I look first and what to do first? So the first step is, where do you have the best data? That's the most important thing, and that is the foundation for which you want to build anything that's AI related. Next is, where do you have the greatest business value for your business? That would be the place where I would think of starting. And then finally, where can you do a smaller project, build proof of concept for your management team, and then get larger as you go? So where those three intersect, the best data, the best business value, and starting with a smaller project where you can get a quick win, those are the three ways to get started when it comes to AI and take advantage of this revolutionary technology. Well, thank you so much, Greg. Like I said, great information. It's always a pleasure talking to you and learning from your mastery. Appreciate it. My pleasure.